Hello, everyone. Hello. So I have some amazing news. As you know, I'm just waiting for Brett Lee with Cozyhome Inspections. He just got on, but I want to share some good news before I have you come and join me, Brett. And that is the release of the FHA loan. They just released that. Instead of the traditional $510,400 that you could finance with an FHA financing, that has actually been increased to $548 and $250. Sorry. That's a difference of over $37,000 that you can finance with FHA financing. That's huge. If you did a home search right now and looked at the quality of homes or even the location that $37,000 can give you, and on top of that, there's some other perks to FHA versus conventional. That is lower reserves. So the less income that you have saved up, lower down payment. Your debt to income ratio can be 50% instead of 43% now using that FHA loan. And the good news for self-employed employees, you could possibly qualify for 1 year of tax returns versus the 2 years that we previously needed to have. So great news that increased. So now that you don't have to get a jumbo loan up to 510, now it's 548,000. So tons of benefits there. You may see that in my story. I did post that. So if you want, go back, take a look at it. I will post this afterwards. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm Tricia Bollier with John L. Scott. I have preferred lenders that I could refer you to, or we can just discuss some of your options. So moving on to today's live Q&A. Like I mentioned, we have Brett Lee with Cozyhome Inspections. So let me just add him on here. There we go. And give it a second. He'll join here in a minute. Hey!
Hey, how's it going?
Good. My favorite color.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I do.
I had nothing to do with it.
I know. I've been doing these live Q&As out of my kitchen. So how do you like this?
Yeah, I'm in my daughter's playroom.
I love it. Well, Brett, thanks for coming on and joining me for a live Q&A. I'm excited to share this with everyone. It is definitely one of the first parts of when you're in a transaction as a buyer. It's always exciting news when buyers get an accepted offer, but I always have to kind of pump the brakes for them a little bit until we get through the contingencies, and the major one is the home inspection. So I'm glad that you're able to share with us what you do and what you see.
Yeah, so with a home inspection, something to keep in mind is that we're not experts at every single thing that we inspect. It's like, it's very similar to, say, when you go to the hospital, you meet with a doctor who knows enough to send you to the correct place, right? And so that's kind of similar with a home inspection. So, we do check everything. And if things come up, then we'll send you to the right people so you know what it's going to cost and what it takes to repair and things like that. So that's just the general.
Yeah, absolutely. And how long have you been in Cozyhomes? Can you give us kind of your background story and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I started out as a scientist. I was a hydrologist and an adjunct professor in California, and it's really tough to make a living in the hydrology field. And so I did construction all the way through college and after college, and so then I just decided it was time to move on. And so I got into inspections because I didn't want to do construction anymore. And it's too difficult to be a scientist. And so I started Cozyhome Inspection 5 years ago, and have been doing home inspections since then full time.
Okay. And So can you just run through when you have a home inspection? So if I called you up or if a client called you up and you went through their home, what is the process that you go through? What do you do that makes, I know that you do some amazing stuff because I know you kind of geek out in this. I'm excited for you to share.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd. So the first thing you do, you book the home inspection, and then we come out. It usually takes, depending on the size of the house and the age of the house, somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. And so during the home inspection, again, we try to check everything possible. And I do have a few really cool gadgets that I'll show to you guys, so you can have a better understanding of what is possible during a home inspection, because technically, according to the state of Oregon, a home inspection is just a visual inspection. That's it. It's just what we see, right? And there's a lot of things that you can't see. So, for instance, if you have a leak, say, in a roof, that water pressure is pushing down on that ceiling, and it will eventually come through. You're going to see the stains in there. But paint, for the most part, will hold water in. And so if you have water, say, behind a wall, you won't see it. There won't be stains. There will be no evidence whatsoever that you have water behind the walls. And I saw this just a few days ago. And so what we do have is some tools to help us see these things that aren't visible. So for instance, I have this moisture meter. So this moisture meter creates, there's a little pad on the back side. And so it creates an electromagnetic field. So it creates an electromagnetic field through the wall. So 3/4 of an inch deep, we can tell you the exact moisture content of that wall. Anything above 19%, then you're in the realm of mold, mildew. You increase the chances of wood-destroying organisms. And all you have to do with this is just touch the wall. So you just touch the wall, it'll read 3/4 of an inch through. We'll know the exact moisture content. You see if I put my hand up here, it goes straight to 32%, that's the max that this meter goes to, because we don't need to know anything above 20%. So we can also see moisture through walls, through tile and showers. Actually, moisture. Yeah, so it's pretty common to get moisture behind a shower tile. It's just the grout is somewhat porous. Water does get back there. Usually it's not going to cause a problem because there's a waterproof layer behind the tile. But it is important to know that it's getting back there, so you know that it does need to be sealed.
Well,
I would say
in a previous home inspection that you and I had, you found moisture around a toilet that was completely remodeled with new tiled flooring and grouted, and it had a really high water moisture. And then you were able to see it even more evidently when you got into the crawl space.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, especially with a lot of newer homes, you get these 2-story homes and you can't go to the crawl space and look for stains or anything like that. And the only way to know is using a moisture meter. And I would say on average, something around 1 in 20 toilets that I test are leaking. Most of the time it's a really small leak. We can detect it early. And in those cases, you just lift the toilet up, replace the seal, and it's good to go. No big deal. If it continues to leak for years, that's when you start to get mold, you'll start to get rotten structural supports and things like that. So it is really important to have the moisture meter.
What else
one
do
of the things
have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's some other cool stuff. So we also have an infrared camera. An infrared camera sees heat instead of visible light. And with the infrared camera, we can also see leaks. We can see overheated electrical wires behind walls, things like that. I'm finding leaks in probably 1 in 4 homes right now that there's leaks somewhere, typically around windows, skylights, things like that. Here's the infrared camera. So you can see. I'm going to try to do this on this video. For instance, here, I'll move this over. We'll go over to the wall.
So if you guys are just coming on, this is Brett Lee with Cozyhome Inspection. We're just going through the process and the importance of having a home inspection. Some sellers will have it before they list. I always suggest having one when you're in contract. So the first couple weeks in contract is pretty much the most dire and most busy, because that's when Brett will come out and he uses all of his really high-tech, great equipment that a lot of home inspectors don't have or don't take the time to utilize. that you could have these two options. But I'm excited for you to share this. So I'll let you get back to it. I just want to give you a little introduction again.
Oh, thanks. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So here's a wall. So see, if I just take my hand and just touch the wall for a second and stop, we can use the infrared camera and see that handprint. There we go.
That's so cool.
There. Yeah. So this camera will see a difference in temperature of 1 degree Celsius. So if you think about in your house is going to be typically around 65 to 72 degrees. The cold water in your house is going to be around 50 degrees, so it's going to be much colder than the walls. And then your hot water is typically going to be 120, so it's going to be much warmer than your walls. So if you have a leak in any of the plumbing lines, either the hot or the cold water coming into the house, we'll be able to see that with the infrared camera really easily. Because again, it can see a difference in temperature of 1 degree Celsius. And then the other thing that I do that I think is really important is you run all of the hot water in the house. So typically when I'm there, people have been gone for a while. And by running all the hot water in the house, we can see if there's any leaks in the drain lines anywhere. As you can see with the handprint, you just barely touch the wall, you'll be able to see that handprint. So if you had water that was, somewhere around 115 degrees and it was leaking out of any of the drain pipes in the house, behind the wall, anything like that, we would be able to see it really easily. And we would see that right away. Yeah,
I love that you have these gadgets that you can see things that aren't visible to our eyes. It's something that a lot of home inspectors don't have. And so moving on, what's the next? Because this is when we get into your little experiments. I want to know what else you got going here.
Okay, so let's just say, again, it's a visual inspection, so we have to be able to see everything. So there are places, in particular in older homes, that are just too small for a human to get into. So then we have, this took me a year to build, but we do have the inspection robot.
I love this thing.
It was a lot of fun to build. And so we have full HD video, and we can stand outside the house, put it into, say, a really small crawl space, drive it around, we can record the video, and inspect whatever we want. And with this robot, we actually have, this is crazy. So we have, the robot can see, so here's the camera at the front with the lights. And so we can look all the way up, or we can look all the way down. If the robot gets stuck and flips over, it doesn't matter, because we can still look all the way up and all the way down and continue the inspection.
Great. So when it flips over, would the image also flip with it? Or do you
it does, yeah. Well, what I do is I flip the controller. I reverse the controller 180 so then I can control it again. Otherwise, it's kind of confusing to do it all backwards in my head. And then I flip the screen upside down.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's back up again. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so that is a way to get, it's a way to get into areas that there's no other way to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I think that in the past we've had a pretty tall home. It was only a 2-story, but it was up on a hillside with very steep inclined roof. And you had a gadget that you used to see some spots on the roof that you just didn't feel safe or able to get up there.
Yeah, so I left that in the car because it's a little too big to fit in the room. But essentially, we have a 21-foot tall selfie stick. And so I can control it from the ground. And believe it or not, this camera has a 20x zoom, the actual 20x zoom, and then it has another 20x digital zoom on it. And so we can lift the camera 20 feet in the air, control it from the ground, and take pictures by zooming in. We can take pictures of pretty much anything on any roof. And even if it's a 5-story tall building, we can put it out of one of the top floor windows and still be able to film everything. So dangerous roofs, really, really windy, wet days, if there's ice on the roof, something like that, it's not safe to get up there, we can still take photographs of the roof with that camera.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I love all your gadgets. And besides how thorough you are, I know that we talked about the fun things, the gadgets, but um, if you're okay, you can correct me. But
Uh-huh.
you go through the homes and you check every window, every door, every outlet, every faucet, everything you can touch or move in the home or should have any kind of electricity or water going through it. You have your hands on it.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I also do with the moisture meter. I take measurements every 6 inches on the well, depending on the siding. If it's wood siding, we'll do it every 6 inches on the outside of the house. If it's fiber cement, the siding is not actually touching the interior wall, so you can't use a moisture meter on that. But definitely on the inside of the house, every 6 inches. Pay particular attention to the windows, skylight areas, around every toilet, the shower surrounds, behind sinks, things like that. Because sometimes it's surprising where you find water. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily make sense that you have water in some weird area. But yeah, so that's really important. So, the entire house, everywhere you can get to with a moisture meter, make sure you don't miss anything. And then going back through the infrared camera, which will help you identify areas. Because, even if there's water getting behind a wall, the change in temperature just from evaporation behind the wall is enough to see it with the infrared camera, and then we'll go with the moisture meter and check. Because the moisture meter is definitive, the infrared camera just shows the difference in temperature, so it gives you some areas to double check.
Yeah, yeah. But besides that, besides the infrared and the moisture, you actually open every cabinet, right? And you have a don't you? What's the correct word for the thing you plug into the outlets? Is it a grounding? Is it a tester? Is that all?
Yeah, just a tester. Yeah, and just by if so, without taking an outlet apart, the only way to know if everything is correct, if it's actually grounded, it doesn't matter if there's a wire hooked up. Like, is it actually grounded to the ground panel? Are the black and white wires correct? There's a tester, and so it shows 5 different faults, and you just plug it in, and it'll tell you right away if there's anything at all wrong with that outlet, which is really nice because you'll find outlets even in brand new houses. You'll see outlets wired backwards all the time.
Okay. So now we've walked around the outside, you looked at the roof, you looked underneath the home, or no, you haven't looked underneath the home. You tested everything inside, any window, door, appliance. You used your infrared reader, your moisture reader, and then do you go in the attic or do you go in the crawl space?
Typically go in the attic first.
Okay. And what do you look for there?
So in the attic, typical things you're going to see in an attic is the ventilation being covered up, bathroom vents. All the time you'll see bathroom vents that just vent directly into the attic space, which is almost always going to cause mold. Or if you have any of your vents clogged up, which is really common because they put in all your vents and they do everything correctly. And then the people that come in and blow in the insulation will oftentimes just completely cover half of the vents on the roof. And then within a few years, you'll most likely get mold, which is not too expensive to repair, but mold is pretty common. I would say like somewhere around 20% of homes in Portland have mold in the attic space, unfortunately.
And honestly, from my past experiences in the 13 years, my home inspections that I've had with my clients, I would say the percentage is higher than that.
Yeah.
Like a lot higher. Like 20% of the time there is not any mold. There's some sort of trace or something. It's just, I think you're right. It's the climate, but it does, I know that if you're not a frequent buyer or seller in the real estate industry, it can be alarming at first, but it's easily tangible to resolve. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm Tricia Bollier with John L. Scott. This is Brett Lee with Cozyhome Inspection joining me for the live Q&A. And if you are watching this film or this live Q&A, and if you are needing a home inspection in the future, you can call up Cozyhome Inspection. We'll make sure that all the information is down below. Or Brett, what's your phone number?
503-683-3022.
There you go. And mention this live Q&A to receive $50 off your home inspection. So make sure you utilize that. It's probably, you're the most detailed home inspector that I've worked with, and still be able to have a very clean and easy report to read at the end that anyone, whether you're experienced in the field or not, you can really understand what's going on with the home and what is very cautious things to look at, or even just a honey-do list, and then the things that you really need to address right away. So very good.
Awesome.
So through that through that at the attic space, then you'll go down into the crawl space, right?
Crawl space, yeah. You know, one common problem we see a lot in Portland, we have so much rain in Portland. You know, I think we have something like 42 inches of rain a year, which is over 4 feet, or almost 4 feet. And so finding moisture in our homes is really common. And typically, it's almost always caused by the downspouts. So you have your gutters that collect all the water, and then they'll go through the downspouts. And typically the downspouts will just drain right on the ground. So right at the base of the foundation, which means that when you have all that water being concentrated in say 2 to 4 different areas of the home, you're almost always going to get a really, really high water table, and you're going to get standing water in the house. But so just know, if you go to a house and you see the downspouts draining on the ground, you almost always are going to have standing water under the house. And then water under the house in the winter time, almost always think it's coming through the crawl space vents, so they close those, which is the only way one of the only ways you're going to get moisture out of your crawl space is by leaving those crawl space vents open. So if you see the downspouts drain on the ground, all the crawl space vents closed, guarantee there's water under there.
Okay. And you see that pretty often.
Yeah, it's really common. And, you know, having water under the house isn't necessarily a detriment. It's something that just happens because there's so much rain here. And so you're always going to get some under the house. You just don't want a lot. And if you get the downspouts 10 feet from the house, it's highly unlikely you're going to have any moisture problems under the house at all. And that's it. And, if you just put the downspouts like in your neighbor's yard or something, you'll definitely get
No, I have a better solution. You can, again, call me if you have some moisture issues, and I can at least help you out. Just as a reminder, we have a family excavation company that I work pretty close with, and I do a lot of estimates for. So that's what I really enjoy, being able to help homeowners or whatever your needs are when it comes to any kind of earth work. And
your neighbors will like that better.
What was that?
Your neighbors will like that better.
Yeah. So call me or call Quality Excavation Systems. But I can help you come up with a better solution than your neighbors mad at you. So, all right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share before I hop off here?
No, that's it. That's it.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I look forward to working with you more in the future. And like I said, if you guys watch this video, mention it, get $50 off for your next home inspection with Cozyhomes. And I'm Tricia Bollier with John L. Scott. You can reach me if you have any questions at 971-330-1563. And Brett, I'll let you go ahead and share your contact information.
My name is Brett Lee. I'm the owner of Cozyhome Inspection. You can just go to cozyhomeinspection.com, and our phone number is 503-683-3022. All right. Good luck out there.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. Tomorrow morning. See you then.
Thank you for joining, everyone. Bye.